Hi everybody, welcome to the Makeup Chair. Today I'm doing a series of different step-by-steps when it comes to the process of applying makeup. Now the name of this video suggests which step we're at the moment, but if you want to have a look at all the other steps you can check the link up here which will take you to the playlist. Otherwise, just keep watching. Now we're going to move on to concealing. I want to talk a little bit about concealers before we get started. Technically, you should be using two types of concealers. Everybody in their makeup bag should have their foundation that they love and then two concealers. Two concealers are for different reasons. One is for underneath the eye area. That is usually something like this, which is kind of like a highlighting pen with concealer inside it. What you don't want to use is something like Touche Éclat, which is actually just a highlighter and not necessarily something for kind of covering up or hiding anything. Then for blemishes you want to use something that's flat, that's fairly matte, and that has a little bit extra coverage so that you're making sure that you hide anything, because technically concealers are actually used for hiding stuff, and things like this which have highlighters actually in it are just going to draw more attention to it. So there are certain ways that you can use a highlighting pen like this, but for any blemishes or anything that you want to hide up, you want to use something like this. So I talked about these two concealers in my Friday favorites video, which you can watch right here, but I'm going to talk a little bit about why I chose these two concealers. This is a 24-hour concealer. It is the Super Stay by Maybelline. It is fantastic for covering up blemishes because it really gives a long-lasting effect. It's going to make sure that there's a lot of coverage there because that's what you want from your concealer. Your foundation isn't necessarily something that you need full coverage from. Your concealer is kind of there to hide anything that you have a huge problem with. So something like this, which is awesome, it lasts a really long time. It's very similar to the Collection 2001, but you do get a little bit extra product in this one for your money. Now this can actually be used underneath the eyes if you do not have dry skin. If you have dry skin, you might not want to use something like this because it will kind of mattify that whole area. So if you have dry under eyes, you might want to use something more moisturizing. So this is my highlighting pen. This is the Liqueur Beauty Pen, something like the Sleek one, which is kind of similar to this as well. It's basically a pump system. You pump it a few times, the concealer comes out the top, and then you use it underneath the eyes. With these, I tend to only use them underneath the eyes, and even if this was the best concealer in the entire world, I would never use something that has this type of tip on it on blemishes. The same with something like this, which actually has a little sponge tip applicator. I don't dot the sponge tip applicator over the spot. I actually roll it on the back of my hand. So that's one thing to be careful of when you are covering up blemishes. You do want to make sure that you use the back of your hand as your palette and you use your fingertips. I don't tend to use brushes when I use blemishes because I find I'm never going to be able to get my brush completely got rid of any bacteria on there. And if I do end up using it on a few different spots, then I'm going to be spreading bacteria, whereas you can wash your fingers in between. So we're going to move on. I'm going to show you guys how to conceal. So that is this step completed. If you want to have a look at all the steps within this series, you can check the link up here. It's going to take you to the playlist where you can have a look at the other videos. I'm Sinead Katie and thank you for watching.